Hello YouTube, Arrow Assassin here today, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing a video on the best Battleground specs, and I'm going to be doing it mostly pretty much only for DPS. I just don't play every single tank, and I don't really play healers, so I don't have the knowledge for them. So with that guys covered, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into it. I'm going to split this in two different groups. The goal of this video is to do the best Battleground specs for what fits your style. The two groups are solo, so if you're a solo type of player like I am, where you're mostly by yourself, then this will mostly be for you. The other one is going to be for group. So if you're with your friends a lot more, not all the time, but for a decent and more amount than being solo, this will probably be for you. Alright, solo. What you're seeing is first, of course, is Rogue. And the Rogue is mostly for a solo type of person. What makes them really, really strong in Battlegrounds is they can change the tide of the game depending on the map. I've changed probably the outcome of several Battlegrounds. I've actually seen several rogues change the outcome of the Battlegrounds for several reasons. The main reason is because of their stealth style. So if you're wanting to be stealth, you can pick your battles whenever you want, then this will be for you. But that's not the whole reason why to play in a Battleground. The main reason is because they can be really good at ninjing. So, say for example, you're in Battle for Gilneas, your team is getting slaughtered, and you can pretty much harass the person who's defending mines. You can even ninja it, and it can change the outcome of the battle. It's not every guaranteed possible, but you have a pretty much a better chance of changing the outcome with the rogue class. So if that seems your style to go off and do your own thing, just to taunt people, harass them, really annoy the crap out of them, Rogue will probably be for you. Like I said, it's one of the stronger classes simply due to the fact that it can change the outcome with ninjing flags. Of course, there's stuff like you can CC like healers and stuff better because rogues have tons of utility. They can stun lock you to death even if you don't really do anything. You can at least stun and harass the healers. That's really all there is to it, guys. So the main two things why Rogue is powerful: CC the crap out of healers, can pick your battles, and really good at ninjing stuff. And if the team leaves the battle, then your teammates can annihilate the rest of the Hordes or Alliance, whatever faction you play, and can ninja the flag. And then you hold that the rest of the game. GG, man. Easy victory. That's all there is to it. So I don't think I need to say anything else about Rogue. I think you pretty much got the point. Let's move on to the next one. Alright guys, up next is Droid. By the way, some of these next few clips are going to be with previous videos. I just haven't had time to record them, so you can ignore the bottom right of the screen down there. So just thought I had to let you guys know. But anyways, next up is Druid. And I'm putting this up to solo for few reasons. I'm not really sure if I wanted to put Boomkin with support or not, because Boomkin is better with supporting. I know solo wise Feral is really, really good and it's better for solo. Feral is basically like a rogue. It's similar to like a rogue. It's got similar play style. I'm not really 100% sure if they're like the best Battleground type of spec I wouldn't put, because rogue can actually do way better stuff. They have better CC in my opinion. Probably not with the next patch because they get cycling back, but they just can do a lot more things I feel like better than a Feral can, because they can ninja, they got just more CC, they just have more ways to harass. But Feral does have ways to support teammates with the off-healing that Rogue can't do. So I would say they're one of the better 1v1 specs of the game. So if you're going to go off and do your own thing, Feral will do obviously better for you compared to some other specs in the game, because that's just what they do. They're really good at 1v1ing. So if you want to go 1v1 a person who's defending a base, or want to kill enemy flag carriers or stuff like that, they'll be really, really, really good. And I would suggest doing that, because that's just the way Feral's good. Team fight wise, they're not really that great because you're squishy. So I would not suggest being in team fight type of thing. So completely ignore being a team fight, in my opinion. Just go off and try and get your own bases if you can. Or if you do try to be in a team fight, just be very, very careful because Feral Druid is extremely squishy. It's just the way they are. But yeah, 1v1 wise, if you want to be a class that can be good at 1v1s, Rogue and Feral will definitely be your kind of style. So that's the reason why they're one of the better groups for soloing. By the way, in case you guys didn't know by now, I'm doing the solo group first, and then the other group will be next. So, yeah, that's the reason why I put Feral Dread in the solo for the best Battleground specs. So, moving on, guys. Alright, guys, up next is Hunter, and this is a really powerful Battleground class. The reason why this is powerful is because they're actually really good at defending, so if you're one of those defender type of people that really like to defend, which obviously, clearly, not a lot of people like to do in Battlegrounds, but if you're really one of the few rare people that do, you can sit at a base and you really can't be stopped as for defending. Like, if a rogue tries to gank you, like I said, they're kind of like a defending type of class. They're just designed to be really good. They're really good counter against rogues. They got flare, so if you want to go up against, if you have a hard time against stealth players, Hunter will be good for you. They have track hidden. They have flare. They have bleeds for survival. At least does have bleeds. I think some other specs do as well. But they're just good against stealth players. And you can drop flares. You can drop a pet near the flag. So either way, they can't get the flag cap. Solo wise, they also have pretty strong DPS. They have ways to get away. They're one of they're a little bit. They're not the best, obviously, mobility class, but they have pretty decent mobility compared to, say, a DK or something like that. And I'm sorry if you heard that. I got my moved my hand against a chair real quick. But yeah, they have a really strong mobility. They're good at 1v1s as well. I wouldn't say they're the best 1v1 class, but they're really high up there, of course, probably. Yeah, I think that's all there is to it. That's what makes them really strong. It's just they're really good at defending. They have pretty strong mobility. They have really good CC with traps and stuns. I wouldn't say the same for marksman, but at least BM and survival do. I know not a lot of people like BM. I know not a lot of people like survival. I know most people like marksman, but I would suggest giving it a shot. It's really strong, and I don't think you would regret it. I've never regret playing my hunter. I mean, obviously I don't like marksman, but I would suggest giving it a shot. You'd be surprised. You actually would be surprised. A lot of people that I've suggested to play survival has enjoyed it. I'm a fan of BM, but not because it's really, really stupid because of the NPC, but for different reasons. But I enjoy it, so I'm going to try not to ramble because I still got a lot more to do. So that's pretty much the main reason why I would suggest playing BM and why I put it on the solo list. Alright guys, I'm going to say this probably just one more quick time because I want to make sure everybody knows. While this is obviously the best Battleground specs video, I'm putting it in 2 different groups. So that's the whole point of this video. So just keep that in mind. There's going to be 2 different groups, solo-wise and group-wise. So while this is obviously the best Battleground specs video, it's going to be the best Battleground specs for each type of person. So please keep that in mind if that makes any sense. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the next one. Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is definitely one of the most powerful 1v1 specs in the game. It may not seem that way, but they're very strong. They're very, very fast and high mobility class. So if you're like me, who's a double jumper, who loves to play solo, I constantly jump all the time on all my tunes, this spec will be for you. They are always wanted in rated battlegrounds. I know this isn't really specifically for rated, but Vengeance makes you get pretty much all instant invite almost all the time, at least from what I've seen. Everybody loves Vengeance Demon Hunters. Havoc is just one of the most AoE specs in the game, so if everybody's all grouped up like they always are in middle and Eye of the Storm, or Deep Wind, or Sunglutch, everybody's always grouped up. So you'll get so much AoE damage on everybody. It's just insane. So if you want to be a double jumper, a glider, be the one of the highest mobility classes in the game, and want to just destroy the crap out of people, Demon Hunter will be for you. That's really all there is to it. That's what makes Demon Hunter insane. It's just the double jumps, the gliding, the mobility. It's got so much AoE, so if you want to AoE people down, AoE stun, it's what makes them very strong. So, moving on to the next one. Alright guys, up next is Monk. This one was a tricky one. They are a very good solo type of class, but they're not very good in BFA currently right now. I'm not going to lie to anybody. They're not in the best spot in BFA right now. Their design is completely garbage in BFA, in my opinion. But they're still a very good solo type of class. It's the way it's just the way they are. They're more so, if you're a solo type of person, it will be for you. I wouldn't honestly recommend playing Windwalker right now. They're not the best. They're just some of the specs I've listed are obviously better, but don't get me wrong, Windwalker is okay. They're fun. I don't hate the spec currently. I mean, it's better. I would play it. It's fun, but they're in the middle for me. But what makes this a good solo type of spec to play, because that's pretty much what this video is about, and why I put them in the solo department, is because of their toolkit. They have a teleport, so if you want to get in and out of certain situations, which obviously I didn't do as good in this video, but you guys kind of get why. You can teleport out, and if you put it out somewhere, you can get in and out of the battle whenever you want. So it's kind of like a little mini rogue, just without stealth. You just go in, you kill your target, and you teleport out, and then boom, easy kills, man. They do have semi-decent CC. They used to have way better in Legion. Like I said, BFA design is completely garbage. It is. Their whole toolkit damage right now is from Touch of Death, it does a lot of damage, but it's so easily counterable if you could just bubble it or turtle it, pop your defenses, whatever you want. It's just so easy counterable. Touch of Karma, which most of the people in random battlegrounds will tunnel through it anyways, because people in battlegrounds are kind of not really too bright. But I've seen it happen all the time. People have done it to me. I've done it to other people, like, rarely. But it makes you a better player when you notice these kind of little mini details. But for the most part, people will tunnel vision your karma, and yeah. So, but occasionally you'll get the player who actually does not know, or that does know not to go through karma. So either way, that's pretty much why I put the best battleground spec in for Monk. Is because in the solo department, because of that. So all there is to it. To recap, just in case you didn't really understand, Monk's toolkit with teleports and karma, touch death, semi-decent CC. It's just why I put him in the better solo department for this build. So moving on to the next one. Alright guys, the final one for the group solo, or for the solo type of people, is Paladin. I was honestly going to put this in the group one, but I feel like it's in a mix. It's good for solo people. If you're a solo person, it's good, but it's also for group. Paladin is pretty much a class designed for utility. So it was really tough to decide. I'm just going to put this in solo, but in my opinion, it's really designed for utility. Solo-wise, they're one of the more powerful 1v1 type of class, so if you want to go off and do your own thing too, you can, but I would not recommend it. Honestly, I really couldn't decide to put this where to put this, so I'm just going to say for this class, it's more so in the group department, but so if you're a utility type of person who loves to help out teammates, I would recommend playing this, but you can play this solo. It is a really good solo type of person, or solo type of class. Honestly, I really can't say what to I don't really know what to say for this type of spec, because you can do 1v1s and you can do off your own thing, but I honestly would not recommend it for Paladin. It's just the spec is designed to help out your teammates. It's just the utility Rhett has. You'd be wasting your own potential for Rhett if you just didn't do your own thing. You can blessing protecting your teammates. Rhett has Word of Glory to off-heal your teammates. Just overall, that's what makes them a really powerful Battleground spec, is because of the utility. That's really all there is to it, guys. Like, I can't say anything else. It's just I would recommend using utility and sticking by your teammates. That's all there is to it, guys. And that's all I got to say with Rhett. Let's move on to the groups now. Alright guys, this is for the group of people that play with teammates, that pretty much, like, if you're queuing up with friends more often, this is pretty much for you. Like, these are the specs that you should play or I should say classes, that will be for you. The first one is for Priest. So if you're queuing up with teammates and friends all the time, this will be for you. Simply due to the fact that it's just more so for, if you're going to be around people all the time, this class will pretty much be designed for you. You'll pretty much do really well. It's got utility, you got silence, you got mind control. Mind control is fun alone, just for people that like, you can mind control people off cliffs. I've done that several times. Heck, even on Silver Shard Mines, I have a video up of me mind controlling somebody into the lava and killing them that way. It's hilarious. I love the spell alone, just designed for that. This spec is definitely not designed for people that want to go off and do their own thing in 1v1s. I'm not saying like you can't 1v1 people. It is possible. Every player is different. Not going to deny that. You can 1v1 people as like any class you want. It's just some specs are easier than others. So I'm not saying you can't go and 1v1 a Paladin or a Rogue. It is possible. It also depends on the player, obviously. But yeah, this spec is good for group fights. So if you're in group fights all the time, this will be for you. That's all there is to it. You got a silence, you got a fear, you got second core if you talent into it, but most people do, and you got mind control. That's really all there is to it. It's a lot of fun, and you can melt people with the utility Shadow Priest has. And if you're into group type of fights, I suggest giving Shadow Priest a try, especially since the fact that they're getting some nice changes in 8.1, I believe. So moving on to the next one. Alright guys, up next is Warrior. This one is a little bit tricky. What you're seeing right now is Fury. And the reason why I am saying Fury for the solo, because solo, they got the self-healing and the damage. That's what makes them really good. So solo-wise, I know I should have said Warrior earlier, but the reason why I'm putting Warrior in the group department right now is because of Arms. Arms is squishy. They're not good at soloing. But if you give them with a teammate, they are completely devastating. They're probably like the best class if you're with a teammate because they're so powerful. At least that's just my opinion. And everybody can make a class work, but Arms is devastating with a healer and with teammates. They're very powerful. So that's the reason why they're in a group and why I put them in that way. They have the Mortal Strike effect. They don't have as much defensives. They have defensive stance, of course, commanding shot, which gives you extra health to live a little bit longer. Dialed by the sword, but it's a 3-minute cooldown. Overall, like I said, it's just they're not good for soloing at all. So if you're always with teammates, friends, I would recommend Arms to you. Like if you don't play solo at all, play Arms. It'll be devastating. They'll just destroy people. So, but if you play solo occasionally, I mean, I guess it would be okay, but I would recommend not playing Arms at all if you're gonna play solo. Play Fury. It would be better. So maybe like if as Warrior, this would probably be a good class for you. So if you occasionally queue with teammates, or actually if you queue with teammates and occasionally queue solo for fun, Warrior would probably be a good class for you. You could just switch between Fury for solo and Arms for teammates. You would just crush stuff. Pretty sure Bajira, or if I even said his name right, is a good example of that. You can see how good devastating Warrior can be with teammates. That's pretty much an alone example because we all know he always keeps with healers. So, but yeah, he's a really good Warrior otherwise. But yeah, that's pretty much a good example of how devastating a Warrior can be. Moving on to the next one. Alright guys, up next is Warlock. Warlock is in a really kind of a little bit of a rough spot in this expansion pack. It's kind of like similar to Monk. They're just not really all that great right now. Affliction does okay, but it's got really, really low survivability. So you need your teammates to peel for you to help you survive. So that's the reason why I put Lock in. Actually, Lock in general needs that, but in the group department. Because they can do okay damage, but they die and flop so easily. You just need your teammates to help you survive. So that's why they're in groups. It's pretty much kind of like similar to Shadow Priest and Warrior. If you have teammates around you, they can be pretty kind of devastating, in my opinion. So Destruction doesn't do as high Chaos Bolts, I feel like, as it used to do. I mean, they do okay Chaos damage, but compared to like Mist of Pandaria, where their Chaos Bolt was completely devastating, I feel like it's just not the way it used to be. So I'm personally a huge Destruction Warlock fan. I love Destruction, but if you're solo person like me, it's not like my go-to. I definitely am more solo type of person, so I don't play lock as much. Doesn't mean I don't like it. I love destruction, but it's just not similar to what it used to be. So if you queue with friends, sometimes they queue with friends, so I play this tune when I play with friends sometimes. Not all the time. I still play it solo wise, but I would not recommend it for solo type of people. That's why I put it in groups. So if you're with teammates that know how to peel and keep you alive, Warlock can be pretty devastating in my opinion. Not as devastating as I would say Warrior, but it could be pretty good. It would be pretty good. So I would only recommend this if you play with teammates and friends. Can be good for the occasional solo queue, but you might not like it as much in that department. So I would put this only if you queue with friends pretty often, but it can be still okay with solo queue. So that's all I got to say about Lock. Alright guys, up next is DK. So this normally would have gone in solo. If this was Legion right now, this would have gone in solo. But DK has changed so much in BFA. Frost sucks. I'm not going to lie. Frost DK is pretty garbage right now. The survivability isn't that good. Their damage isn't that good. But they do... I've seen some people make Frost DK work. But I would not recommend Frost DK right now. It's very rough right now, and in my opinion, they will only be good if you're with a group. Like, that's it. That's all there is to it. I would not suggest it being solo. If this was Legion, I would put them in solo, but their damage is not really that good, and it's kind of laughable right now. So, and the survivability is definitely 100 times worse than it was in Legion. So, if you queue with a group, I would suggest doing that. So, I've even seen some Frost DK channels that have actually mained it and never really played much of anything else. I talk about it being awful right now, and I actually feel bad for those DK mains. In my opinion, everything else could do stuff better. A Warrior can do 100 times better than a DK right now. If you're with a team, it's just Unholy is actually not too bad right now, but I would not recommend playing DK right now. It's not really that good, but yeah, I feel bad for the DK mains because I love Frost DK. Like, I've always loved Frost DK. It's just something I've always enjoyed, and it's just kind of a little bit depressing right now. So I wish I could say more stuff about DK, but I can't. I really can't. Even it makes me sad. Let's go and move on to the next one. Alright guys, up next is Mage. I actually had a hard time deciding for this one too, for either solo or group wise. I ended up putting it group wise because it can be pretty devastating in my opinion being a group, especially as Fire, because Fire Mage, everybody's going to be on everybody, like, all over the place. So you could get free greater power blasts off, and it's just devastating for the group. You can pretty much wipe entire teams with nobody focusing you and casting greater power blasts all the time. So Fire's pretty devastating. Frost, even though it's getting some nerfs to slows, I believe, can be pretty devastating so you can slow people down all over the place. And that's the reason why I put it in group. Arcane is pretty okay too. I don't really play Arcane. I don't like Arcane personally, but it can be pretty high burst. I've seen pretty high burst from Arcane mages, but I feel like Fire is pretty much the best mage spec in the game. Everybody and their dog is playing one right now. So Fire can be devastating more in a group, in my opinion, than solo. So that's the reason why I put them in a group. I can make Fire work pretty well solo-wise, so I put them in solo-wise as well. But I just feel like the class is designed more so for group fights. So either way, they're really good no matter what, in my opinion, group-wise and solo-wise. So you can't go wrong either way with Mage in general. But I feel like the class is just designed for group. I don't know. It's one of those, like, I just don't know. I really don't know. I make it work in solo, but they're more so devastating with groups. So I wish I could say more, but I just honestly don't know what to say about Mage, even though I feel like I do have a ton to say about Mage. It's just one of those where I feel like they're good in group fights, but you can make it work no matter what. So let's move on to the final one. Alright guys, the final one is Shaman. I put them in the group because Elemental is not really good in my opinion solo-wise. They got really low damage. They got really good utility, but their damage I feel like isn't as good. So they They do pretty decent about those. I've seen a lot of good elementals lately, surprisingly. So I haven't played it much myself. I only played enhancement. I don't even have the gear for elemental, but I do personally love elemental. Plus, having knockoffs for your group, it's nuts. Say you're in Eye of the Storm or Lumber Mill, just knock people off glyphs. It's just a really good utility. So for group type of fights, they have Lightning Lasso for people if you want to chain stun a healer, and your group can just annihilate that person. You can't cast any damage yourself, but if you stun that person, it lasts so long, and that your group can annihilate that person. I mean, of course, that can trick it, obviously, but for the most part, it's just a really, really good utility alone for that to have. Plus, your strong off healing is elemental. Enhancement. This was kind of good for solo, but they've gotten so many nerfs for like healing wise and the mana regen nerfs. I just find it better in group fights than go off and do my own thing anymore. So, because you're gonna need healers to off heal you because of your mana regen nerf and all that. But they are a pretty fun class to play still. I personally like it still, but I would say the class is just more so designed to be in group fights than say off and do your own thing. So, anyways, guys, I don't know what the title of this video is going to be yet. I mean, I'm kind of trying. I'll think of it, I guess, when the time comes. Hopefully, this video helps you. Like, I'm hoping this video helps you. This took a while to make, and let me know what you guys' thoughts are. I'll see you guys later for the next video.